From now on, we'll split all living expenses equally. Huh? Why? Well, I can't trust you since you grew up in a single-parent household.
Charles suddenly changed his attitude the moment we got married and said such things. Wait. Why are you saying this all of a sudden?
Look, anyway, we need to have photos from our honeymoon.
We went on our honeymoon as a fake couple. Why do we need to take pictures together? That's right. Then I came up with a plan. If you insist on having photos, then I have a condition too. My husband turned pale after hearing my statement.
Don't joke around like that.
My name is Lynn, a 29-year-old office worker. I'm currently in a relationship with someone. His name is Charles, and we were classmates in university. We were in the same seminar group and worked on assignments together. Although we didn't develop a romantic relationship during our student days, we occasionally went out for drinks and maintained some interaction after becoming working adults. But due to our busy schedule, there was a period that we didn't see each other for a while. During that time, we reunited at a mutual friend's wedding. After the wedding reception, we went out for drinks together, and the conversation was lively and enjoyable. Since then, we started meeting regularly and even started meeting on weekends. As we went on more dates, we officially became a couple. I never expected that we would transform from friends to lovers like this, so I was surprised by this development. But it was easier because we already knew each other to some extent. From then on, our relationship continued smoothly. He, being a seasoned adult in terms of dating experience, took the lead and provided a reliable support. He came up with various date plans and took me to different places. I felt like this was different from anyone I've dated before. No one has gone this far in thinking and caring for me. That's why I gradually became more attracted to him.
I thought we could go on a little trip today.
Huh? Now? It's already after work.
And it's 6 p.m.
Yeah,
but I was thinking of going for a drive today.
Oh, okay. I understand. Let's go then. I didn't understand his intention of spontaneously going on a drive on this evening, but I still got into the passenger seat as he told me to. We enjoyed the drive together, listening to songs from our school days and talking about work. After driving for about 2 hours, he parked the car in the parking lot. Charles, what's wrong? Do you need to use the restroom or something? When I asked that, he smiled and said, Just wait a moment. And then, 10 minutes later, beautiful fireworks suddenly lit up the night sky right in front of us. Wow! Fireworks? Amazing!
Actually, this place isn't well known. Since we're here, let's watch it outside, while feeling the night breeze.
Yeah! He and I got out of the car and watched the fireworks, beautifully bursting in the sky. There was no crowd, and it was the first time I had seen fireworks this big and beautiful. Charles, that's amazing! Did you know about this hidden spot? Sort of.
I researched various places because I wanted to come here with you, Lynn.
Huh? For me?
Yeah. And so, Lynn, will you marry me?
Huh? I need you in my life. Amidst the continuously launching fireworks, Charles proposed to me. I was simply astonished by this romantic proposal. At the same time, my heart started pounding rapidly, and I realized that this was real. Of course. My answer was a resounding yes. I'm so happy. I look forward to our future together. And just like that, we decided to get married. I immediately informed my parents about it.
Huh. Lynn is getting married. Well, that's surprising.
Dad, that's kind of rude, you know?
Well, that was a joke, but it's really a joyous occasion.
Yes, it's wonderful that our only daughter is getting married.
Lynn, congratulations.
Thank you, Mom, Dad. I'll bring my fiancé next time.
Yes, we're looking forward to it.
And then, 2 weeks later, I brought Charles to my parents' house. Charles greeted my parents politely, and they immediately liked him.
Oh, so your father runs a company?
Yes, it's a family business that has been passed down since my grandfather,
and I plan to take over someday. I see. That's impressive.
You come from a distinguished family. My parents were surprised when they heard about Charles' family. In fact, Charles' father is a business owner, and Charles himself is the son of the wealthy family. But since I had known about it since our student days, I hadn't really thought much about it. Even though he is a wealthy son, Charles is still Charles, and it didn't matter to me. Maybe he liked that I treated him normally without being affected by his wealth. I'm sure many women must have pursued him for his wealth. Anyway, I was glad that he and my parents got along well. But later on, during a conversation about my parents, something caught my attention. It was when he casually asked my parents a question.
What was Lynn like as a child?
My mother answered that question.
Lynn has always been a responsible child. When she was 5 years old, I divorced her previous father and raised her single-handedly. She always helped with household chores, and it was a great help.
I was happily listening to my mother's words of gratitude. But Charles, beside me, had a surprised expression.
Huh? Lynn? You grew up in a single-parent household?
Yeah, I guess I didn't mention it before. My current father became part of the family when my mom remarried while I was in high school.
I wish you told me such an important thing earlier.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He had a slightly displeased look, and an awkward atmosphere filled the air. But I treat Lynn as if she were my own biological daughter. And she also accepts me as her father. So, it's not much different from a normal family.
My father's efforts to mediate seemed to calm Charles down a bit. However, I was slightly surprised by his attitude. Could there be some problem with the fact that I grew up in a single-parent household? Maybe he's concerned about those aspects because he is a wealthy son? If that's the case, I worry that his parents might oppose our marriage. With those concerns in mind, I went to his parents' place to introduce myself and pay my respects. Nice to meet you. My name is Lynn.
Nice to meet you too.
Charles' parents weren't particularly friendly, but they didn't say anything to me either. The marriage greetings went smoothly.
Well, Lynn, good to see you. Take care of Charles from now on, please.
With those words from his father, the greetings quickly ended. It was all too abrupt, and I was taken aback. Afterward, the meeting between both families ended quickly, and Charles and I decided to get married. We had our wedding ceremony, and our married life began. I had some slight anxieties about our first time living together, but I was more excited. However, something unexpected happened right after we moved into our new home and started living together. My husband suddenly said something like this.
So, our married life has begun, but I have one condition for this marriage.
Huh? A condition?
From now on, we'll split all living expenses evenly.
Huh?
Oh, why?
Although I also work, I was a bit surprised by his sudden request. I thought that as a married couple, we would share our finances together.
I don't want you taking away my assets if something happens.
Charles? Why would you say something like that?
Well, I can't trust someone who grew up in a single-parent household like you.
To my surprise, my husband's attitude suddenly changed the moment we got married. And he said such things. Wait. What do you mean by that?
People who grew up in single-parent households and poverty might have ample opportunity to target my assets, right? I can't trust you, so we'll split the living expenses. That way, you won't have any chance to take advantage of me.
But that's... I was taken aback and bewildered by my husband's sudden harsh words. In an instant, my feelings towards him began to fade. Furthermore, even though our married life had just begun, he hardly came home. He would return late at night every day and not even touch the meals I prepared. So I started doing only my share of the household chores. If we are splitting the living expenses, then we should also consider dividing the food expenses. I felt resentful about going out of my way to prepare something for my husband. It seemed like he didn't care at all when I only did my share of the household chores. It didn't take long for our conversations to dwindle to nothing. We were merely living together under the same roof. Can we even call this a marriage? I became incredibly sad day by day. I'm sure my parents would be devastated if they knew about my current situation. They believed that I would be happy after getting married. So I felt terribly sorry for putting my parents in this situation. It hadn't even been 2 months since we got married. And yet, why did we end up in such a cold and distant relationship? What did my husband intend when he married me in the first place? While feeling unsettled, I went through each day. I focused on my work and tried not to think about my husband. But then, one day, out of the blue, my husband mentioned going on honeymoon. Huh? What's with the sudden decision? You're treating me like a stranger. So what's the point? As I muttered to myself, my husband spoke.
Going on a honeymoon is just a formality. As the son of the company's president, I have to let my colleagues know that we went on a honeymoon, right?
What? What's that about? Just worrying about what people think? Shut up.
As the next CEO, I have to consider many things. Well, it might be bothersome for you, who's just after my assets, right?
Provoking me like that, my husband continued. Fine, I'll go. But you'll cover the expenses.
Huh? Why?
Why? Because I'm not interested. That's why. Since you were dragging me there against my will, at least cover the costs.
Huh. Fine. I guess I have no choice.
And so, I ended up going on a honeymoon with my husband, completely unenthusiastic about it. Our destination was Tuscany. A trip abroad with my husband should have been enjoyable, especially since it was our honeymoon. No, as expected, the trip was not enjoyable at all. The plane ride, in particular, was truly agonizing. I wish we had separate seats instead of sitting next to each other. And finally, we arrived in Tuscany. Well, I'll do things on my own.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
I wanted to get away from my husband as soon as possible, so I went to the places I had researched on my own. And for about half a day, I enjoyed sightseeing alone. I was having a somewhat enjoyable time, so I was calmly sitting at a cafe when suddenly my husband walked in.
Wait, what? What's going on?
My husband sat right across from me without any warning.
From now on, we'll be doing everything together. Why? What's the reason? We need to have photos of our honeymoon. Otherwise, our employees might get suspicious.
I was annoyed by my husband, who was interrupting my alone time for such a stupid reason. At that moment, I came up with an idea. If that's the case, I have a condition.
What? What condition?
I want you to cover all our living expenses.
Huh?
Because we're a married couple, right? Then I want you to fulfill your role as the son of the company's president and cover all our living expenses. If you don't, I'll tell your employees that we are splitting the living expenses. Upon hearing my words, my husband turned pale.
What? Don't screw with me. If it's known that I am doing something so stingy, my reputation will suffer.
Huh. So you do realize you were being stingy. Well then, from now on, you will cover all our living expenses. Otherwise, we won't take any photos together. And I will spill everything.
Damn it. How did it come to this?
Charles looked very frustrated. I thought to myself that I had won, and I smiled widely in the photos. Afterward, we checked into the hotel. For some reason, my husband had booked a room together.
Why aren't we in separate rooms?
Because it's a honeymoon trip for a married couple.
If we had separate rooms,
the hotel staff would find it strange.
Don't you think?
Also, my father and the others have been urging us to have a child soon.
Wait a minute.
A child? We have such a cold and distant relationship. And you want to have a child?
Well, as long as we secure a successor,
it doesn't matter who the partner is.
You're truly despicable. Can't be helped. You married me, so just give it up.
Don't you dare think of me as an easy woman. If you try anything, I'll call the police right away.
Huh? The police?
Yes, that's right. Is that something we agreed upon? You'll end up being arrested as a criminal away from home.
Stop messing around. You're completely useless. I thought if I praised you enough, we could get married, have a child, and create a formal family. You. How could you?
Unable to find the words to respond to my husband's abusive remark, I fell silent.
What? Are you disappointed now?
That's right. I will inherit the position of the company president and live comfortably.
If I do things that please my father, I can become the president sooner. So I thought I would let him have grandchildren as soon as possible.
He's a complete scumbag. He should be evaluated and become the president based on his work abilities. I sighed deeply, in utter disbelief. But it seemed that my husband was also angered by my attitude, as he said the following words to me.
I can't stand being with you anymore. Let's get a divorce.
I responded immediately, delighted, as if I had been waiting for this.
Great! I agree. Let's do it.
My husband's eyes widened in surprise. But since he had brought it up himself, he must have thought there was no turning back. And so, we settled the matter with a divorce right there.
Don't regret it,
I retorted without backing down. Are you sure you'll be okay inheriting the company? You might end up ruining it during your tenure.
Don't make fun of me. You'll be the one at a loss from this divorce.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to share a room with you, so I'll get a separate room. I said that and stayed in a separate room. Then I turned off my smartphone and enjoyed the rest of the trip alone. I no longer wanted to have any conversation with my husband, and our unbelievably cold honeymoon came to an end. As soon as I returned home, I packed my belongings and left the house immediately.
Do you have to leave in such a hurry?
I just don't want to be with you a moment longer. I can't pretend that you didn't say all those hurtful words to me. I left those words behind and left the house where we had lived together, returning to my parents' home. On the way, I went to the municipal office and submitted the divorce application. When I informed my parents about it, they were surprised and furious. But at that time, I had already come up with a certain revenge plan. A week later, I received a bunch of phone calls from my husband.
Hello?
What's up?
You... Are you kidding me?
Everyone at the company knows about our breakup.
What did you do?
And my father personally handed me a pink slip. Oh dear, that's unfortunate, isn't it? It seems that the audio file had an impact.
Audio file? What do you mean?
Well, actually, Yes, I had recorded all the conversation with my husband during the trip. I was certain that his bad personality would eventually surface. And as expected, he kept making offensive remarks throughout the trip. So I recorded it and sent the data to his workplace. In no time, the audio data became a hot topic within the company and even reached the ears of the president, who was his father. My husband was quickly dismissed and cut off even by his own parents.
What am I supposed to do now? Abandon my family. Lost my job.
Well, in that case, why don't you go to Katie?
Huh?
Oh, you didn't think I knew about your affair? I knew that you were cheating on me.
Oh, what?
So, even if we were a sham couple, I'll still be entitled to alimony, won't I?
Let's... Please, Lynn. Reconsider.
And so, I claimed alimony from my ex-husband and his affair partner, collecting it from each of them. My ex-husband lost his savings in an instant, was abandoned by his affair partner, and couldn't find a new job. Well, it was all his own doing, and I can't sympathize with him. Meanwhile, I was promoted at my current job. I thought I would take a break from romance and marriage for a while. Honestly, I can't say that I am completely unaffected by what happened. The fact that I was betrayed by someone I loved is undeniable. That's why my goal now is to focus on advancing in my career as much as possible. Someday, this marriage and divorce will become solid events of the past. I want to create fulfilling life with both love and work. So I'll do my best today, just like any other day.